It's time to talk about this book as we approach the beginning of 2022. But remember, beginnings aren't tied to the start of a year, a month, or a week. Beginnings are tied to the moment you decide to start. Start now. Let's dive into the book by the amazing, kind, and incredibly influential author Steve Harvey. In this video, we need a hot cup of coffee, my dear friend, or any drink you love, or some food because winter is the time to eat. Let's enjoy this together.
The oasis of knowledge.
Hello, my dear friend. Welcome to the Oasis of Knowledge. Today's idea is that I'll read a book and explain it to you in detail, not just a summary, but a full explanation. If you like the idea of the channel, I'd be honored if you subscribe. The story of this book, my friend, is that there's a clip of Steve Harvey that went viral. The title or theme of the clip was, Steve Harvey says people kept coming to him saying, "Steve, thank you for the clip. It was beautiful, powerful, and it changed my life." Some even said, "I play the clip every day, Steve, and you can't imagine the impact it has on me." Steve would ask, "What clip? Whose?" It turned out to be a leaked clip from a break during his show. During the break, he was talking to the audience and the camera was rolling. He gave a simple speech about jumping, and the clip reached 58 million views before it was taken down due to copyright issues. When Steve realized how much this topic had helped and motivated people, even to the point where people in Pakistan played the clip to motivate themselves, he decided to expand on it and write this book. That's the story of the book, my dear friend. So, what did Steve Harvey say in the clip? He said, "Jump. There's no successful person in life who hasn't taken a leap. You have to jump too." He said every one of us has a vision of the life we want. A life we dream of, aspire to, or hope to achieve one day. Some of us envision the car we want to drive, the beautiful house we want to build, the amount of money we want to earn, the ideal partner we're searching for, the children we want to raise, the project we want to complete, the position we want to reach, the level of education we want to achieve, or the hobby we want to master. Some of us envision the city or country we want to move to and live in. We all have these visions in our minds of the life we want to live one day. Steve said, "There's no successful person in this world who hasn't jumped toward that vision." He explained that jumping means taking control, taking a leap of faith, taking risks, and doing the impossible to reach that vision. The vision you've set for your life has a price, and that price is what makes you jump. Steve added that every one of us, in addition to the vision we've been given, has a gift. That gift is your talent, given to you by God. If you're wondering what your talent is, it's the thing you do with utmost excellence and minimal effort. It's your talent, even if you don't love it. Some people's talent is cutting hair, others is making the best fried chicken. Don't underestimate any talent. These talents can create miracles. Steve shared stories of people who turned simple talents into massive successes, like the friend who started a lawn mowing business worth $4 million, or the guy who made $800,000 a year just from car washes. These are the gifts God gave them to help them jump toward their visions. Steve emphasized that if you know people in your life who've achieved a lot, whether they're celebrities or just ordinary successful people, you'll notice they've all taken leaps. Some own the car they've always wanted, some buy a new car every year, some travel once or twice a year, and some own multiple homes in different cities. All you have to do is believe in the vision in your mind and use the gift God has given you to take that leap of faith toward achieving it. Steve warned that when you jump, the parachute won't open immediately. You'll hit the cliff, your clothes will tear, and you'll bleed. A lot. But he promised that the parachute will eventually open. This promise isn't from him, it's from God. No one who jumps fails to achieve their vision as long as they don't give up, lose faith, or stop working and jumping no matter the cost. On the other hand, if you choose not to jump and play it safe, standing on the edge of the cliff, your parachute will never open. the vision in your mind will remain out of reach. This is 100% true. If you have a vision of the life you want to live, dreams you want to turn into reality, you must believe in them, use the talent God has given you, and jump toward confidence, risk, and hard work. In the end, you'll reach your goal, God willing. Steve Harvey's story is a testament to this. He jumped from homelessness to becoming a man worth $200 million. In 2021, his salary was $45 million. He achieved all this just by making people laugh. That's the gift God gave him. Let me share Steve's story. When Steve was 9 years old, his teacher asked the class to write down their life goals. Steve wrote that he wanted to be on TV. When the teacher read his goal aloud, Steve stuttered while trying to read it. The teacher mocked him, saying, "How will you be on TV if you can't even read 2 sentences?" Steve went home and told his mother, who also discouraged him, saying, "We don't have people who appear on TV in our family." Imagine a 9-year-old child facing such discouragement, but Steve didn't let that stop him. Years later, after failing in college and losing his job at Ford, Steve found himself homeless, living in his car for 7 years. He traveled from city to city, state to state, searching for opportunities. During this time, he discovered his talent for making people laugh. He started performing stand-up comedy, and despite the challenges, he kept jumping. Eventually, his parachute opened. He became a successful comedian, TV host, and author, achieving the vision he had as a child. Steve's story teaches us that no matter how many times you fall, you must keep jumping. The parachute will open, and you'll reach your vision as long as you don't give up. Let me remind you briefly of Steve Harvey's journey. At 9 years old, his goal was to be on TV. Despite being mocked by his teacher and discouraged by his mother, he held on to that vision. He faced homelessness, living in his car for 7 years, jumping from city to city, searching for his opportunity. And eventually, he achieved his dream, becoming a man worth $200 million. Steve's story is a powerful reminder that no matter how many times you fall, you must keep jumping. The parachute will open, and you'll reach your vision as long as you don't give up. There is an immense amount of beauty in nature. Steve Harvey reflects on how nature doesn't have straight lines. Listen to this beautiful thought. Nature doesn't have straight lines. There are curves, ups and downs, hills and valleys, and that's what makes it beautiful. Life is the same. It won't be straight or easy. If you set a goal, you won't achieve it in a straight, effortless path. No. There will be ups and downs, failures and successes, moments of frustration and despair. There will be times when you doubt yourself, wondering if you'll ever achieve your goal, if you even have the ability to do so. But that's life. It won't be easy or straightforward. Your journey toward achieving your goal won't be easy or straightforward either, and that's the beauty of it. Steve Harvey shares how, while driving, he would reflect on the days he had failed, every bad experience he had gone through. He would look at the car's windshield and the rearview mirror, comparing them to life. Life is like the car you're driving. The rearview mirror, which shows you the past, is small, just enough to remind you of what's behind you, to learn from it, and to avoid repeating mistakes. But the majority of your focus should be on the windshield, through which you see the road ahead, even if it's uncertain. At least you're moving forward toward your dream. People who get stuck looking at the past through that small rearview mirror will crash into everything ahead of them. You can't drive while only looking at the rearview mirror. To move forward in life, you must look through the windshield, focusing on what's ahead. The rearview mirror is just for quick glances to remind and teach you. That's what Steve thought about as he moved from city to city. Life doesn't have straight lines, and that's its beauty. You must look forward, through the windshield, and keep moving ahead. Steve went through many experiences while he was homeless. And believe me, those experiences shaped him. Painful experiences, joyful ones. He took them all positively. He said that no matter what experience he went through, whether he was homeless or just living life, he always approached it with positivity. He even shared a beautiful thought. Positive thinking and a positive attitude don't necessarily have to come before a bad event. Sometimes, your positive thinking and attitude come after the bad event, after you've faced a problem. That's where the power of positivity lies. Steve shared a story. One time he decided to sleep in a national park, a beautiful place with a large lake surrounded by a forest and mountains. He parked his car near the lake and fell asleep. What woke him up was the rising water level of the lake, which had started flooding his car. He panicked, opened the car door, and got out, soaking wet. He stood there, shocked, watching his car get ruined. A bystander told him, "You didn't know they raised the dam in the morning and increased the water level?" Steve replied, "No, I didn't know." The man said, "That's what happened to you, my friend. I'm sorry." Steve had to call a towing company to get his car out. The funny thing is, he was laughing the whole time, finding humor in his own stupidity. He was handling the situation with complete positivity. He said he didn't even realize he was being positive. It was just his natural response. No matter the situation, he approached it positively. Experiences shape your character and make you a different person, a great person. You don't know how people change after joining the military and going through wars. Some people enter the military as one person and come out completely different. Their whole lives change, their personalities change. That's what experience does. It shapes you. Steve shared how, when he was doing comedy shows in different cities, some of the organizations he worked with would book him a hotel room. He described the feeling of having your own room and bathroom as indescribable. After being homeless and using public restrooms, where he couldn't take his time or relax, having a private bathroom felt like a luxury. Sometimes, he would spend half the day in the bathtub. He said only a homeless person could truly understand the value of that feeling. On regular days he would shower in hotel bathrooms, which was also a blessing. He shared another story. During one period he would go to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel to shower. In many American cities, most public restrooms don't have water. So he would take towels from the sink, wet them with water and soap, go into the restroom and clean himself. Then, he would wait for the staff to replace the towels with dry ones, take the dry towels, dry himself off, get dressed, and leave. One day there was a conference or event at the hotel, and the restroom was packed with people. After cleaning himself with the wet towels, he wanted to leave and grab the dry ones, but the restroom was full. People were on a break, and the restroom was occupied for an hour or two. He couldn't leave. He was stuck in the restroom and started crying heavily. He thought, "This is unbearable." That was one of the painful experiences he went through. But he kept moving forward, determined to achieve his dream of being on TV. Steve's journey from homelessness to performing at the Apollo Theater. When you've been homeless for 7 years, there will come a moment when you want to give up. Listen to this powerful and beautiful thought. There will come a moment in your life when you say, "Enough is enough." For Steve, that moment came when he was in Florida. He was standing at a station with only $35 to his name. He looked at himself and said, "Man, I can't live this life anymore." He was ashamed to call his father, a man in his early 30s, and asked to move back home until he figured things out. He even thought about finding a job and just supporting himself. At the station, there were payphones. In America, it's common for people to leave spare change on payphones for others who might need it. Steve took some change, dialed his father's number, and got his voicemail. The message said, "Hey Steve, this is Chuck Sutton from the Apollo show. We've seen some of your comedy videos and think you'd be a great fit for our show this Sunday night in New York. Call me if you're interested." "Steve, there's no way. It's Thursday night, and I'm in Florida with only $35. How can I get to New York by Sunday?" Wait, maybe he means next Sunday. He called the voicemail again and listened to the message. It said, "Hey Steve, this is Chuck Sutton from the Apollo show. We've seen some of your comedy videos and think you'd be a great fit for our show this Sunday night in New York. Call me if you're interested." Then, there was another message. "Steve, this is Tom Sobel from the Comedy Caravan. We're in Florida and we have a show this Friday night. If you can make it, we'll pay you $150 for the performance. Call me if you're interested." Steve hung up, got in his car, and drove to the location. He performed on Friday night, earned $150, and Tom told him, "Your performance was amazing. You're a top-tier comedian, better than the guy we have scheduled for Saturday. Would you be willing to do another show tomorrow for another $150? Steve said, "I'm in." He performed again on Saturday and earned another $150. Now, with $300, he booked a round-trip ticket to New York for $99. He arrived in New York with only 2 bags to his name and no place to stay. He went straight to the Apollo Theater, arriving on Sunday morning for the show that night. Steve approached the manager and said, "Hi, I'm Steve Harvey, I have a show tonight." The manager replied, "You're here too early, I can't open the place for you." Steve, determined and desperate, said, "I know, but I'm homeless, I only have these 2 bags. Can you please give me a room to stay in? I won't move from there until the show starts. Please, I need this." The manager, seeing his earnestness, said, "There's a room on the 6th floor, don't go beyond it. If you break the rules, I'll have to take action. Don't move from there." Steve agreed and went to the 6th floor carrying his bags. He sat down, exhausted and nervous. Feeling the pangs of hunger, Steve approached the manager and said, "I'm really hungry. I see a Kentucky Fried Chicken at the end of the street. Can I go get some food and come back?" The manager, giving him a stern look, said, "You have half an hour. If you're not back by then, I'll lock the door, and you won't get back in until the show starts." Steve ran to KFC, got some chicken, and rushed back. Finally, it was time for the show. Before the show started, some celebrities would come by. At that time in 1991, some of the people who are now famous weren't yet. Among them were Jamie Foxx and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. They met and got to know each other. When the show started, a comedian went on stage, but the audience booed him off. Then, Dwayne Johnson went on, followed by Jamie Foxx. Jamie was smart. He used his second gift, his beautiful singing voice, and sang with a piano, winning the audience over. Then he told a few jokes, which they accepted. Finally, it was Steve's turn. He went on stage and told a famous joke about Mike Tyson. The audience erupted in laughter and applause. That night, Steve earned $750. Steve reflected, "I had never made $750 in one night before. I made $300 in the past 2 or 3 days, and now I've made $1,000 in total." He had always known that comedy was what he was meant to do. A few years later, he became the main host of the Apollo show after 2 hosts resigned. He hosted the show for 8 years, achieving his dream of being on TV. Every Christmas, he would send his old teacher who had mocked him a brand new TV, reminding her that he had achieved his goal. Steve's story is incredibly inspiring. It gives me energy every time I hear it or share it with someone. Your abilities are limitless. As long as you're breathing, you can achieve the impossible. You must believe that you can and trust that God is with you. Every time a door closes in your life, another one will open. When college didn't work out, Steve got a job at Ford. When Ford didn't work out, he tried several other jobs. When those didn't work out, he started performing at comedy clubs. When comedy clubs didn't work out, he got on TV. Every closed door led him to a new opportunity, preparing him for the next stage. Steve said, "If I had gotten on TV before going through all of that, I wouldn't be the Steve Harvey I am today, the one with experience, knowledge, and wisdom." The third thing you must do is work hard. There's no faith without action. This is true with one condition: never give up. Steve said, "I almost gave up when I was at the station in Florida. But if you give up on one thing, I guarantee you that the thing you want to achieve will never happen. That's certain. But if you don't give up, as long as there's a possibility, even a 1% chance, you will achieve it one day." Giving up eliminates even that 1% chance. This is true. If you stop, your parachute will never open. Believe in the vision God has placed in your mind and the gift He has given you. Believe that you can achieve it, no matter what anyone says or what obstacles you face. Work hard for it. Steve said, "My journey wasn't easy. I paid the price to get to where I am today. The best lessons are the ones you pay for, and the fourth condition is to never give up." Steve said, "I'm sure there's a vision in your mind, and I'm sure you have a talent, even if you haven't discovered it yet. The vision of the life you want to live is there, and the talent is there. All you have to do is believe and jump." Let me tell you what jump really means. It means stepping out of your comfort zone. Most of us are afraid of the unknown, which is why we don't take risks. When we're comfortable in a situation, we don't want to change it. But as Steve Harvey says, you must be comfortable with being uncomfortable. There will be hard work and many jumps. Every time you get comfortable, you must jump to the next level. I know people whose lives have become stagnant, and I know others who keep jumping from one comfort zone to another. Some have career goals and move from company to company, from better to worse, until they reach the position they want. Others dream of starting a business but are too afraid of losing money, afraid of what people will say, afraid of losing their family's trust, afraid of the financial damage. Steve says, jump, fail, then fail again and again. You'll fail 99 times and succeed once, and that's all you need. but you must keep jumping. Jump, my dear friend. I was once afraid to jump. I was afraid to start creating content. I thought my job was the best thing I had. I was one of those people who hated leaving their comfort zone. But when I did, new horizons opened up for me. Now, I'm living in a new comfort zone and I'm ready to jump again because my goal is far away, and I will reach it, God willing. You too have many things in your life that you want to achieve, experience, and live, but you're still afraid, hesitant, and waiting for the right opportunity or the right moment to start. Don't wait. Start today. Jump, and remember that the parachute won't open immediately. Keep in mind that there will be wounds, damages, blows, bruises, and fractures, but in the end, you will reach your goal, God willing, if you learn from every failure. Some people keep failing without learning from their experiences. Every time you fail or fall, ask yourself why you fell, what you learned, and what you should avoid next time. You must learn and set short-term goals for yourself. For example, I set a goal to create content. This goal taught me content writing, filming, production, editing, social media management, and even contract negotiation. I learned so many things just because I set a goal to create content. I wanted to deliver my message to the world and do what I truly love. This goal led me to all these skills and helped me discover things about myself that I wouldn't have learned if I had stayed in my job. Today, I have my job and my content creation. I keep jumping, my dear friend, keep jumping, and the vision you have for yourself will come to fruition. For example, we know many people who are incredibly talented in gaming, even more so than some famous gamers. However, the famous gamers know how to create content and present it in a way that engages the audience. On the other hand, the highly talented individual who doesn't even know how to make a single video won't succeed. Talent alone is not enough, my dear friend. It's simply not enough. Always remember that every one of us is talented. Each of us has a talent, even if we haven't discovered it yet, and even if we have discovered it, we might not have practiced it enough to master it. For example, do you think Mary Callender became the best at making pies overnight? No, she made many pies until she became the best. So, try to discover your talent, practice it a lot, master it, and refine it. Don't forget what I told you in the episode about passion. Also, be realistic. You might be talented in something, but the train might have already left the station for you. For example, someone might discover their talent for playing soccer after the age of 45. At that point, you can still benefit from it, but you won't become a professional player. However, you could start a club, scout talents, or do something related. But realistically, becoming a player at that age is unlikely. So, be very realistic. If you have a talent today, my dear follower, try to gain the knowledge and learn the necessary skills to turn that talent into a beautiful source of income. It doesn't have to be income, by the way. Your goal might be to build relationships, gain influence, or become a role model. It doesn't always have to be about money. Steve Harvey says, "I always thought my talent was telling jokes, but I recently discovered that it's not just that. My talent is delivering knowledge, advice, and motivation in a comedic and humorous way." That's why he founded a charity in Texas to guide young people, and believe me, the impact he's had on them is indescribable. Let me share one last story with you, and I'll end the video with it. Steve says that during one of his visits to this charity, which has grown significantly and now has employees and many contributors including celebrities, influencers, and wealthy donors, he gave a speech to the attendees. After finishing his speech and heading out, one of the attendees jumped up and started running toward him, trying to catch up. The security guard stopped him, but he insisted, saying, please, let me talk to Mr. Harvey. You don't know my story. Please, just let me say a few words." When Steve saw how determined he was, he told the guards to let him through. The man approached Steve and said, "Steve, you have a radio station, right?" Steve actually owns a radio station because he loves radio. It's both a talent and a hobby for him. The man continued, "I was in prison in 2005 and they played a segment from your radio station where you talked about prisons and delivered a message to people behind bars, telling them they could create miracles, even from behind bars. You also talked about hobbies and talents. That's when I discovered my talent and hobby cooking. I started learning to cook every day, and after serving my 5-year sentence, I was released in 2010. I immediately started practicing this talent, and today, I'm the head chef at one of the biggest and most famous restaurants in America. You changed my life, Steve, just from that one segment." The point is, Steve's talent wasn't just telling jokes. It was delivering knowledge, motivation, and guidance through humor. So, my dear follower, your talent will create miracles for you. If you haven't discovered it yet, what are you waiting for? Close this video and start searching for it. Once you find it, learn it, practice it, and master it. That's where we've reached the end of this video. If you know someone who could benefit from this, send them this video. The like you're about to give us will help spread this channel to a wider audience.